Hello and welcome to a new video. Today we're gonna take a look at all missing mythical Pokemon for Pokemon Go, and of course mainly we're gonna take a look at the Master League for this one, because there are a lot of them that are really nice. We can definitely use your rare XL candy if you still keep them for later on, but of course also first here video with a facecam, so yeah, I don't know if you appreciate it or not. I had to buy a facecam for university, so that's great. So yeah, we want to now take a look, of course, at the video, but also, if you haven't subscribed already, feel free to do so. Yeah, only around 42% are actually subscribed, so definitely feel free to do so. Otherwise, we're gonna start immediately with Manaphy. We're gonna start actually by generation, so we're gonna start with Generation 4, which is the most likeliest to be released soon, which is going to be Manaphy first, which is going to maybe be a part of the upcoming Sinnoh Tour, which is most likely going to happen for the next year, February, usually, end of February. So this Pokemon is basically same stats as Mew, same stats as, I think, Shaman, normal Shaman. All of those Pokemon early on had all like 100 in every base stat in the main series games, so same stats as Mew. So like if you know how bulky Mew is, you know how bulky Manaphy is. Otherwise, you're going to see a moveset that has been like this for ages already. We're going to have Waterfall, we're going to have Surf, we're going to have Psychic, which is okay, you can use it, you have Bubble Beam theoretically as well. Goes up to 3691 CP, but also would have some signature moves of Heart Swap as well as Take Heart, which I think are both moves that got released during the recent Hisui game, so something that's kinda new. I actually thought for a long time that Tail Glow would be a signature move of this Pokemon, but it's actually the signature move of Volbeat, and just like Manaphy got this one as well, as also like a setup move in the main series games. But as we're going to see here right now, Manaphy is not really the greatest Pokemon to have here. It is okay, but it's not something that you really need to worry about too much. And we're going to also have the pre-evolution, kinda, not really. You can actually not evolve Phione into Manaphy, but you can breed Manaphy to get Phione as like an egg. I don't actually know why you cannot evolve this Pokemon, but yeah, this is basically a baby form of Manaphy, and it only gets to 2380 CP, which is not really that great. But we're going to have better stats for basically the Great as well as Ultra League. So we're going to take a look at the Great League here right now again. Here, I think it only learns the signature move Take Heart. The other one, it only gets for the evolution, so that's also kind of interesting here. But we're going to have the moveset of Bubble Beam and Waterfall as well as Surf. So that's going to be amazing here, as we're going to also now see that this Pokemon is actually kind of okay for the Great League, but again, it's not something crazy. Like, this Pokemon is like your standard water type. There are better ones out there with Waterfall and Surf and Bubble Beam. It's not really that great. It's not something that you really have to worry about. Take Heart, as well as the other signature move of Manaphy, are, by the way, both Psychic type moves that don't do damage, but like give them some generation, or like I think also like swapping out or something like that. So like, yeah, it's not the craziest ones either, so most likely not going to be in Pokemon Go. So this Pokemon, most likely both of them kinda useless. But you're gonna be, of course, at one of the Pokemon that's going to be insane. Arceus is, or like Arceus, or I actually like, how do you say this name? I don't know. I know like a lot of people have like different ways of saying this words here, or like the Pokemon name there. But it's standardly a normal type Pokemon, but it can shift into every single type in the game. And this makes this Pokemon really, really strong, especially as we're going to see it has a signature move called Judgment, which is also changing with its type. So I would expect something like Judgment eventually in the game, most likely when this Pokemon gets released as well, being around like 50 energy, 100 damage, somewhere around there. And it changes with whatever type you're going to give Arceus. I would expect that you would be able to just change it, like, for example, the form of Shaman right now, where you just have to use some Stardust, some Candies, and you're going to be fine with it. Because it's kind of like Genesect as well, where you could change the forms. It's going to have like different types as well with that, and it's going to come in clutch later on. Here we're going to see the normal variant real quick first, and it's already fairly decent, which, of course, as the the god of Pokemon, you kind of would want to have that anyway. Very balanced stats, both for attack, defense, and stamina, nearly all the same. We have Shadow Claw as a fast move, which is amazing. That's currently, by the way, the moveset in the game. There are some later on, which don't have a moveset in the game yet. I just picked one then afterwards from like the best ones that they can learn. But here, as we're going to see, this Pokemon is kind of okay already as a normal type, but let's take a look at the Fairy variant of this one. This is still without Judgment, which would make this Pokemon even stronger, and we see nearly an average rating of 600, making this Pokemon super overpowered. So I would imagine that it most likely going to lose Shadow Claw along the way if we're going to be able to change the forms and like change the types itself, because right now it just doesn't, like, it's just way too strong. Like, honestly, give it a fairy typing and this thing is just destroying the entire meta, and I don't think anybody wants it, especially if you want to give it Judgment as a signature move still eventually. it just doesn't really make too much sense, to be fair. So, next one, going to be Keldeo. This is kind of an awkward one in the list here because it is already released, but has a different form as well, which only gives it a new move. It doesn't change the stats at all, it's still the same typing, but it would give the move Secret Sword, which I don't know how they want to put it into the game. I just made it as an Avalanche clone, which is a common theme for this video, but might be strong, might be not strong, who knows. But yeah, this is basically other form of Keldeo, doesn't change the stats at all, but is, yeah, basically, it's like ordinary form or whatever it's called there. It's the same, it's basically the same. Honestly, Keldeo needs double kick. Like, I don't know why the other 3 of the 4 like, I don't even know what the Justice trio was like the other ones there, got double kick. This Pokemon also learns double kick as a level up move in the main CS games. I don't know why they didn't give it double kick yet, but I'm not here to judge, to be fair, so we can just move on from this one. It's not too great, but what is actually great is Meloetta. Like, you see already the normal variant of Meloetta, the Aria form, but this is like the period form, and this thing is actually insane. Like, you have a normal and fighting type Pokemon, which is really cool. I made a video before actually about this Pokemon and said it's bad, but I used Fire Punch because it's currently the recommended moveset for PV, like on PV Poke instead of Ice Punch, but Ice Punch makes this Pokemon insanely strong, as you're going to see as well. This Pokemon is going to be really, really good, being able to beat Giratina easily because it can just resist the Shadow Claw damage there. And you can just one-shot most likely something like a Dialga with a close combat because you have a very high attack stat here, so definitely going to be able to one-shot those. It's just a really, really strong, not gonna lie, this Pokemon can have a lot of play. Here I think it's a little bit better in the calculations and it's actually going to be at the end of the day because I guess you're going to bait a lot of times with Ice Punch, which is going to help it out quite a lot. If you have a nuke move like Close Combat, it's just great in calculations, maybe a little bit worse in game then. But I think this Pokemon is really cool. Definitely something that you can try to get, or like even try to get the Candies already. You can walk the normal variant, it's going to have the same Candies. Maybe you can even change the form eventually. But it also has the signature move Relic Song, which might be interesting, would be a normal type charge move most likely. So would be also something interesting. Next one, Volcanion. Actually one of my favorite Pokemon in terms of the design. I just like this Pokemon a lot. A water and fire type Pokemon, which is kinda a rare thing for Pokemon in general to have water and fire together. But this Pokemon learns some decent moves with like Incinerate as a fast move is a little bit better than Water Gun, I would say. Hydro Pump is also okay on this Pokemon, to be fair. Here we have Sludge Bomb as well as Overheat. Basically can break apart like the Zacian plus the Dialga core. It's not too great either though. But yeah, Overheat is okay. Earth Power is also fine. You could argue of going for Earth Power over Overheat as well here, because you already have like Fire type damage with Incinerate and you don't really need it too much. But signature move Steam Eruption would be a Water type move, which is basically a buffed Scald, so I would imagine like basically Scald but the same energy, same effect, but just more damage. That's what I would expect when we're ever gonna get this into the game. I didn't want to, like basically I didn't want to program anything in terms of the moves if they have a moveset in the actual code. But I mean, you're going to see later, I've just tried to put some of these signature moves actually into the game, which if you didn't know, like you can download a local version of PvP Poke where you can just change the source code of the stuff. That's basically what I do, where a lot of people get confused how I change those moves. I can only do it on my local version, you cannot do it online. But yeah, Volcanion is okay. Maybe with Steam Eruption it's going to be a little bit better, but right now, like I would not really think that this Pokemon going to be too crazy. It has a lot of weaknesses as well, with like Ground, Rock, Electric, yeah, a lot of them, but it's fine. Next one, that's going to be one of the ones where we don't know the charge moves or fast moves yet. And it's actually in the game code, which I find interesting, because you're going to see later as well some that are not in the game code at all. But this one is in the game code, so we have like the stats and whatever already in. I could calculate them myself. I can also like look them up online otherwise, like it's not the biggest issue with the stats. But we don't know the fast move, we don't know the charge move. The signature move is a Flare Cannon, which is an Overheat clone as a Fairy type move. So you're going to have like the double debuff onto your attack again, but you're going to do 130 damage for 55 energy, which is really decent to be fair. So as we're going to see here, we're going to have the fast move of Volt Switch. There is no great Fairy type fast move that I saw, at least for them. I don't think it learns Charm or Fairy Wind, might be mistaken for that, but definitely learns a Volt Switch, I think even per level up. And I know that in competitive play, a lot of people run Volt Switch on this Pokemon when it's allowed, because of like the pivoting, like it's a common theme in like main CS game stuff, which I also play a little bit. But Psyshock plus Flare Cannon here. Flare Cannon again, it's the Fairy type variant of Overheat here, going to do a ton of damage. Is looking really, really strong. Like honestly, this Pokemon looks insane. Main thing for this is the Steel plus Fairy typing is the best possible defensive typing in Pokemon Go so far, in my opinion. Next is then Steel and Dragon, but Steel and Fairy is, in my opinion, even a little bit better, and so this is the best typing. You have some solid moves here, theoretically. You would also learn Disarming Voice, you would also learn Play Rough on this Pokemon. I don't think it learns Moonblast, but definitely solid options even if you don't get Flare Cannon, so like this Pokemon going to be strong, most likely, as long as it gets a good fast move, which is like the issue for it. I hope it gets Volt Switch, but here, as you can see, it is very strong. Next one is going to be the second to last one. It's going to be Marshadow. Again, this Pokemon is, I think, not at all in the game code right now, but it is one of my favorite mythical Pokemon, to be fair. Most likely my favorite mythical Pokemon together with Victini. But Marshadow is a Ghost and Fang type Pokemon, which is really, really cool. This is, of course, the same typing as the Primeape evolution Annihilate is going to have. But you're going to have Shadow Claw, you're going to have Spectral Thief, you're going to have Close Combat here. Spectral Thief is, in the main series games, I think a 90 damage move, which is going to allow it to steal stat changes from opponents, like positive stat changes. So like if the opponent buffs its attack or defense, you're going to be able to use a move, steal it from the opponent, and just have it for yourself while the opponent loses those effects. I don't know if Niantic going to do anything like this. Maybe they're going to give it like a boost chance or something like this, or both attack or defense would be cool for it. Here, I did, again, an Avalanche clone for it, because it's 90 damage, and Avalanche is 90 damage. So, it's a fairly strong Ghost-type move for me here right now for this example. But as you're going to see, this Pokemon would be very strong with this one. But even if you give it like something like a Shadow Punch or Shadow Ball, it would be totally fine for now, but like Spectral Thief would be really cool to see. Very cool Pokemon, I just like it a lot. It's a really cool Pokemon to use. And we're gonna move on to the final one of today's video. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like. But also, we're going to have, Zeraora. One of also the fan favorite Pokemon, being part electric type only. Like for a long time I thought actually it would be part fighting type, but it's only electric. Has the signature move Plasma Fist, which is actually not that great usually. Like it's a decent move, like it's not like usually you run on it, but it's like not the crazy signature move. I don't even know if it does any side effects or whatever. But you're going to see already this Pokemon is going to only get to 3,865 max CP. And yeah, like this Pokemon, we're gonna put like Volt Switch or Wild Charge as well as Close Combat on it. I did not put Plasma Fist on there because I feel like it's most likely going to be a similar scenario like, for example, with Zekrom right now, which learns both Wild Charge as well as its signature move, where I forgot the name about, but you know it anyway. And you actually kind of want to have Wild Charge instead, because Wild Charge is a very strong move. Close Combat here has great coverage, which also learns, I think, directly in the main series games. I don't think you even need a TM or something for that. So I expect to see this moveset in general, like definitely for this Pokemon. But even like this, we're going to see here, this Pokemon is not going to be too crazy. So like for me, the coolest Pokemon definitely going to be Magearna, the Marshadow, the Meloetta definitely as well, but also the Arceus to invest in. I think I said literally like 3 different types of variants of this name in this video, but hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, feel free to leave a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and check out the video that you see on the screen right now. So see you then, bye bye.